For over 15 years, the disappearance of Maura Murray has haunted true crime fans, investigators, and her family alike. A young woman who vanished without a trace on a snowy February night. Her story sparked countless theories, hope, and heartbreak. Now, after years of dead ends and unanswered questions, new evidence has emerged, finally shining a light on what really happened. But be warned, the truth isn't the comforting closure anyone wanted.
On the search for Maura Murray, 20 years ago this week, the college student from Massachusetts crashed her car on Route 112 in Haverhill, never to be seen again.
It's far darker, more disturbing, and it changes everything we thought we knew. The disappearance. On a cold, snowy February evening in 2004, Maura Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student from the University of Massachusetts Amherst, vanished without a trace. The last confirmed sighting of Maura was on Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire, where her car was found crashed into a snowbank. But how did a simple car accident turn into one of the most perplexing missing person cases in recent history? It all began on February 9th. Maura had told her professors and family she was taking a week off, claiming a family emergency. She packed up some belongings, withdrew money from an ATM, and hit the road. Along the way, she made a strange phone call to her physics professor, asking if she could skip a test, giving only vague explanations. Later, witnesses reported seeing her car swerving before it slid off the road near a remote stretch of highway. When police arrived, they found her vehicle abandoned. Inside were personal items like her cell phone and purse, but Maura herself was nowhere to be found. Despite the freezing temperatures and heavy snowfall, she seemed to have simply disappeared into thin air. The initial response was frantic. Local police, state troopers, and volunteers launched extensive searches, combing the woods and surrounding areas. The family held on to hope, pleading for information, while the media coverage brought national attention to the case. Yet, days turned to weeks, and weeks to months, with no sign of Maura. This strange set of circumstances, her sudden disappearance after a minor crash, the lack of clear motive or direction, and no solid leads, has kept people puzzled for years. Why did she leave the car? Was she hurt? Did she plan to vanish? The mystery of Maura Murray's disappearance is as chilling as the winter night she went missing. Here are the speculations and theories. From hope to horror. Since Maura Murray vanished on that cold February night in 2004, the mystery has sparked countless theories, some filled with hope, others hauntingly grim. Let's unpack the most talked about possibilities, because understanding the swirl of speculation is key to grasping why this case has obsessed so many for years. One of the earliest and most hopeful theories was that Maura chose to disappear. After all, before leaving Amherst, she packed some belongings, withdrew nearly $280 from an ATM, and told professors she needed time off for a family emergency. Some thought she might have been overwhelmed, maybe stressed about school, personal relationships, or family issues, and wanted a clean break from her life. Could she have planned to start fresh, maybe somewhere far away with a new identity? There were reports of people spotting her in nearby towns or even as far as Canada, sparking hope that she was alive and simply wanted privacy. This theory taps into a universal idea that sometimes people feel trapped and choose drastic steps to escape. But there are complications. Maura left behind a lot of personal belongings, including her credit cards, social security card, and clothes. For someone supposedly planning a fresh start, it seems odd to leave so many essentials behind. Family members, while desperate for answers, have largely rejected this idea, believing that Maura would never abandon them without a word. But still, for many internet sleuths and armchair detectives, the voluntary disappearance theory kept the hope alive that Maura might one day return. As time went on, the idea that Maura might have been abducted or met with foul play gained traction. The rural stretch of road where her car was found is remote, with limited traffic and dense woods surrounding it. Some theorists believe that Maura encountered someone dangerous, whether a stranger or someone she knew. There were reports of suspicious vehicles and individuals in the area around the time of her disappearance, but none led to a solid lead. The lack of evidence made it difficult for police to pursue this line strongly, but the possibility lingered. There's also a disturbing angle about whether Maura might have been targeted due to some secret she held or someone she crossed. Rumors about her personal life, relationships, family dynamics, or struggles were often whispered online, though much of it remains speculation. The idea of foul play is terrifying because it suggests someone had the intent to harm Maura and then hide the truth. This theory is why many people hope new evidence might one day expose the culprit and bring justice. Another grim possibility is that Maura was injured or disoriented after the crash and succumbed to the elements. The area is known for harsh winter weather, and hypothermia can set in quickly. Perhaps she wandered off the road looking for help, got lost in the woods, and never made it back. Search teams combed the area multiple times, but the rugged terrain and heavy snow made it difficult to be thorough. Cadaver dogs were used, and helicopters scoured the area. But no trace of Maura's body was ever found. This has led to a frustrating dead end for investigators and family alike.
Maura Murray, a young, athletic, devoted college student and overachiever, vanishes. Her disappearance, one of the first missing cases to capture national and international attention.
This scenario is heartbreaking, but plausible. Sometimes people survive a car crash only to fall victim to the wilderness. It also raises questions about how well-equipped emergency services are in rural areas and how quickly help can arrive. What's unique about the Maura Murray case is how much the internet became involved. Long before true crime podcasts became mainstream, online forums buzzed with theories, tips, and endless speculation. People from all over the world obsessively analyzed Maura's social media posts, texts, photos, and timelines. This digital crowdsourcing kept the case in the public eye for years. Some amateur investigators found overlooked clues or pushed law enforcement to revisit leads. Others, however, fell into conspiracy theories, chasing wild goose chases or spreading misinformation. Some even created fake sightings and hoaxes, making it harder to separate fact from fiction. The media also played a complicated role. Documentaries, news specials, and podcasts brought new attention, but sometimes sensationalized the story to boost ratings. This sometimes painted Maura's life and disappearance in ways that blurred the line between truth and dramatization. In many ways, the Maura Murray case is a prime example of how the internet can both help and hinder investigations. It's a powerful reminder of the fine line between curious engagement and obsession. What's fascinating about this case is how the dominant theories shifted over time. Initially, many held on to hope that Maura had run away or was hiding. But as years passed, hope gave way to darker speculations. This shift mirrors a common pattern in disappearances. When no answers surface, people look for new explanations, often reflecting their own fears or hopes. The endless speculation also points to a more profound human need to make sense of tragedy. When facts are scarce, the mind fills gaps with stories, some comforting, some terrifying. This case is a mirror of that struggle, a mystery where truth remains just out of reach. So, what exactly is this new breakthrough, and how does it change everything we thought we knew about Maura Murray's disappearance? The new evidence that changes everything. For years, the Maura Murray case seemed frozen in time. No new leads, no solid evidence, just a thick fog of questions and theories. But recently, something shifted. A piece of evidence, long overlooked or newly discovered, has emerged, promising to finally crack the case wide open. And, spoiler alert, it's not the hopeful breakthrough anyone was waiting for. So what is this new evidence that's shaking up a mystery that's been cold for over a decade? Sources say it involves a combination of DNA analysis and fresh witness testimonies that were previously dismissed or never followed up on. One crucial breakthrough came from a DNA sample found near the original crash site, collected years ago but only recently processed using advanced forensic techniques. This DNA doesn't match Maura's or any known family member, suggesting the presence of another person at the scene. This discovery reopened the door to foul play in a very real way. Alongside this, a new witness came forward, someone who hadn't spoken up before out of fear or uncertainty. Their testimony places a suspicious individual near the crash site on the night Maura disappeared. Police have described this tip as significant and potentially game-changing. What's particularly heartbreaking is that this new evidence doesn't paint a picture of a young woman starting fresh or lost in the woods. It points toward a dark encounter that ended in tragedy. So why was this evidence missed for so long? Experts suggest a combination of factors: the rural location's limited resources, early investigative missteps, and the challenge of sifting through countless tips and theories in a high-profile case. Advances in forensic technology also played a key role. DNA analysis methods today are far more sensitive and accurate than in 2004. Law enforcement agencies, often criticized for their initial handling of the case, have acknowledged the impact of these new findings. They stress that while the case isn't officially closed, this evidence narrows the focus and reignites the investigation with renewed urgency. For Maura's family, these revelations are a double-edged sword. On one hand, they finally have answers after years of agonizing uncertainty. On the other, the truth that's emerging is devastating. The hope that Maura ran away or survived has been replaced by the harsh reality that something terrible happened that night. The implications extend beyond just one case. This breakthrough underscores the importance of preserving evidence, continual re-evaluation of cold cases, and the power of technological advances to bring justice, even after many years. The dark reality behind the disappearance. With the new evidence in hand, the Maura Murray case shifts from a puzzling mystery to a stark and chilling reality. It's a reminder that sometimes the truth is darker than the stories we tell ourselves to find comfort.
That's for sure, Lisa. It has been such a long road for the Murray family, and tonight, tragically, there is still no resolution. The mystery of Maura's disappearance remains unsolved.
If we accept the possibility that foul play was involved, several grim scenarios emerge. Maura might have encountered someone with malicious intent, perhaps a stranger taking advantage of her vulnerability after the crash, or someone she knew who saw an opportunity to do harm. The isolated stretch of road, covered in snow and far from bustling towns, could have made it easy for such a tragedy to unfold unnoticed. This raises unsettling questions about safety, especially for young women traveling alone in rural areas. The woods and back roads of New Hampshire aren't just beautiful, they can be unforgiving, with few witnesses and slow emergency response times. This vulnerability is often overlooked in discussions about personal safety, but Maura's case highlights it in brutal terms. There's also the human element. Maura was a young woman grappling with pressures and challenges. While the specifics remain private out of respect for her family, it's clear she wasn't just a random victim. She was someone with dreams, struggles, and a life full of possibilities cut short. The mental health angle also can't be ignored. Cases of disappearance sometimes involve unseen battles with anxiety, depression, or other conditions that might drive someone to run or make risky decisions. While this doesn't diminish the possibility of foul play, it adds a layer of complexity to understanding her mindset that night. Moreover, the failure to find Maura's body has prolonged the agony. Without closure, her loved ones live in limbo, unsure if they should hold out hope or begin the grieving process. It's a cruel predicament that many families of the missing face, and it underscores the importance of advancements in search and rescue, forensic science, and law enforcement coordination. Beyond Maura's story, this case sheds light on the broader issue of how society treats missing persons cases, especially in rural America. Resources are often limited, investigations may lack urgency, and many disappearances remain unresolved. Maura's case has pushed some law enforcement agencies to rethink protocols and improve collaboration with volunteers and families. Finally, this dark reality compels us to face uncomfortable truths about vulnerability, trust, and the dangers lurking even in seemingly peaceful places. The romanticized idea of escaping into the wilderness or driving away from problems is shattered by the brutal reality Maura may have faced. The Internet's role: heroes or hype? The Maura Murray disappearance happened at a unique crossroads, just as the Internet was becoming a powerful tool for connection and information sharing. This case quickly became one of the early examples of how the online world could both help and complicate a real-life mystery. From the very beginning, Maura's story captivated online communities. Forums dedicated to true crime sprang up, packed with amateur sleuths dissecting every detail: her last texts, the crash site photos, witness reports, and even social media posts from before she vanished. This digital crowd sourced an enormous amount of information, sparking new leads and keeping the case alive far beyond traditional media coverage. On one hand, this was a huge win. In a time before podcasts and viral true crime documentaries dominated the scene, these online groups kept Maura's story in the spotlight. They pressured authorities to keep investigating and even found potential witnesses or evidence that might have otherwise been overlooked. The passion and dedication of these virtual detectives gave the family a renewed sense of hope and the public a chance to participate in seeking justice. But the Internet's role wasn't without drawbacks. The sheer volume of theories sometimes spiraled into conspiracy territory. Wild guesses, misinformation, and unsubstantiated claims cluttered the conversation. This made it harder for law enforcement to separate credible leads from noise. In some cases, innocent people were falsely accused or harassed by online vigilantes, adding a layer of cruelty to the already painful mystery. The case also highlights a new ethical question in true crime fandom. When does curiosity cross the line into obsession or disrespect? For families of the missing, constant speculation can reopen wounds and fuel anxiety. While the Internet can be a powerful tool for justice, it can also perpetuate trauma. Moreover, Maura's case paved the way for modern true crime media to explode. Podcasts like Missing Maura Murray and countless YouTube deep dives have fueled the genre's popularity. This has benefits, including raising awareness and helping solve cold cases, but it also raises questions about sensationalism and how stories are presented to audiences hungry for drama. The Internet's role in the Maura Murray mystery is a double-edged sword. It kept a cold case warm and engaged a global audience, but also introduced confusion and emotional challenges. It serves as a case study for how we interact with real tragedies in a digital age, balancing passion with responsibility. The way forward. The Maura Murray case, now more than 15 years old, offers lessons that go far beyond one young woman's disappearance. As painful as the truth has become, it forces us to reflect on how we approach missing persons cases and what can be done to prevent future tragedies.
Interest in the Maura Murray case spans the globe. Film crews and amateur sleuths have strained the goodwill and patience of residents here over 15 years.
First, the importance of thorough, timely investigations cannot be overstated. Early missteps or missed opportunities can mean the difference between finding someone and losing them forever. Advances in forensic technology, like the DNA breakthroughs in Maura's case, show how cold cases can get new life with persistence and innovation. It's a reminder that no case should ever be truly closed without all possibilities exhausted. Second, Maura's disappearance highlights the unique challenges of rural areas. Remote roads, harsh weather, and limited emergency resources make both survival and search efforts difficult. This underscores the need for better infrastructure, more training, and closer collaboration between local, state, and federal agencies. Families of the missing also deserve more support, not only emotionally, but in navigating the complex legal and investigative systems. The emotional toll of not knowing, coupled with public speculation, can be overwhelming. Building stronger networks of care for these families is crucial. On a societal level, the case invites us to talk openly about mental health, vulnerability, and personal safety without stigma. Sometimes the missing person story involves unseen struggles, and recognizing this can lead to better prevention and outreach. Then there's the role of the public and the media. Engaging with true crime stories responsibly means respecting those involved, avoiding sensationalism, and remembering that behind every mystery is a human life. The internet's power can be harnessed for good, but only when curiosity meets compassion. Finally, Maura Murray's story gives hope that no mystery is beyond solving. New evidence, new witnesses, and new technologies continue to emerge, reminding us that persistence matters. While this case's resolution may be grim, it paves the way for justice and closure in other cases still waiting to be solved. The Maura Murray mystery teaches us that truth is complicated, sometimes painful, but always necessary. It challenges us to be vigilant, compassionate, and relentless in seeking answers, not just for one person, but for all those who disappear into the unknown. The Maura Murray mystery has captivated and haunted us for years, reminding us that sometimes truth is far darker than hope. The new evidence sheds light on a tragic reality, transforming a baffling disappearance into a heartbreaking story of loss and unanswered questions. Beyond Maura's case, this story urges us to improve investigations, support families, and approach true crime with both curiosity and compassion. Though justice remains unfinished, the lessons learned push us to keep searching, keep questioning, and never forget that behind every mystery is a human life deserving closure and respect. Want more stories like this? Make sure to subscribe to the channel to get notified of new uploads.